groups in Sri Lanka. You all must be knowing Sri Lankans, they had civil war for about 3 decades. It ended in 2009. 2009 to 2019, how many years? About 10 years. So editorial says 10 years is long enough to restore the peace. But editorial also says they could not do it successfully. And they could not, it hasn't resulted in reconciliation of the ethnic groups. Basically, the civil war was between the Sinhalese and the Tamilians. You all must be knowing that. And this has been written, what is a backdrop to write this editorial. Again, you all must be knowing there was a series of bomb blasts sometime back in Sri Lanka. Keeping that in mind, they have written this editorial. Many sentences are easy to understand. You may learn about 20 or 25 words, and a few patterns are very useful. So I'll start with the heading. What is the heading here? 10 years on. 10 years on for what? After the Civil War, it has been 10 years. That's what it means. When did the Civil War end? 2009. This is 2019. So 10 years on end of Sri Lanka's Civil War. So it talks about the end of Sri Lanka's Civil War and what has happened after that. The subheading says, Sri Lanka has not done enough. So it starts with a negative note. Please underline, has not done enough. Which tense is that? Present perfect. Has not done enough to usher in. That's a very good expression. Usher in a reform and reconciliation since 2009. First, you write the meaning of the word usher in. Yesterday, it looked a little clumsy. I was writing, so I thought better to bring the meanings. No, it looked very clumsy for 2 reasons. One, the letters are very big compared to the text what I have brought, and it looks very odd. Second thing, while writing, I don't have this stylus. I have to use my finger. That also results in a little clumsiness. So better thing is what? You see the meaning, you write the meaning. It looks more professional and aesthetically better. So what is the meaning of the word usher in? It's a very good word. Please put a star mark. One meaning is herald. Herald means what? Mark the start of something. Something begins or something starts. Mark the start of something, the beginning of something. Also write the word signal. But signal is not a very good word. Herald is a very good word, and typical meaning of usher in means what? Mark the start of. But there is another meaning. If you go to a theater, you come across a person who carries a torchlight and shows you your place, your seat. That person is called, please write the word, usherer. What is the spelling? So here it is a noun. Please write the part of speech, noun. Usherer. Usherer is a person who shows your place in the theater, who guides you to your seat in the theater. And here as a verb, usher means what? Herald. Mark the start of something. Have you written the word usherer? Usher in what? Reform, and this is also a very good word, reconciliation. Write the meaning of the word reconciliation. Means what? The restoration of friendly relations. Reconcile. The restoration of friendly relations. And you write, everyday English we use the word patch up. Also write sort out. Sort out the differences. Reconcile means what? Sort out the differences. Or patch up the differences. Everyday expression, patch up or sort out, and effective English, reconcile. Reconcile, which part of speech is it? It's a verb. Reconciliation, which part of speech is it? It's a noun. So it starts with a negative note. The government has not done enough to restore peace. Now we'll see the actual editorial. In 1 decade of peace, enough to undo the devastation. Is 1 decade of peace enough? It's a question. Is 1 decade of peace enough to undo the devastating effects of a civil war that lasted nearly 3 decades? The writer poses a question. Decade means what? You all must be knowing. 10 years. So he asks the question, 10 years, is it enough to restore peace? Now, based on the question, he answers a few aspects related to the question. Write the meaning of the word devastating. Devastating, which part of speech is it? Today I'll focus more on parts of speech. Devastating impact, devastating effect. Which part of speech is it? Adjective. Please write adjective. And write the meaning of that. Highly destructive or damaging. Highly destructive or damaging. This goes with brackets. You write the combinations. You write natural disasters. Natural disasters. The storm made a devastating impact. The earthquake made a devastating effect. It also goes with, write one more combination, devastating, a negative result. You spend a lot of time, you work very hard, the result is negative. Then what will it make? What sort of an impact does it make on you? A devastating effect. So brackets, right? A result especially related to competitive exams or any exam for that matter. So the question is devastating effects of a civil war that lasted. Underline the word lasted. L-A-S-T. First you write the word L-A-S-T. Which part of speech is it? If you say last student, first student. Adjective. You expect the combination all the time. That is really surprising. So please write L-A-S-T, brackets, write adjective. When you use it as an adjective, how do you pronounce it? Last. But here, is it an adjective or is it a verb? Please write a verb. Then how do you pronounce it? Last. L-A-S-T, how is it pronounced? Last. Last means to stay for a long time. Write the meaning. To stay for a long time. Or to be there for a long time. To be there for a long time. Lasting effect. Write the combination. Lasting effect. Also write lasting impact. These are the typical combinations. Lasted nearly 3 decades. So, based on the question, how does he go about? As Sri Lanka completes 10 years since the brutal and decisive war against Tamil militants came to an end, it must be acknowledged that the country has not achieved much tangible progress towards ethnic reconciliation. Now, what do you understand? Though it has completed 10 years, it has not achieved required peace. Where, when it talks about required peace, what does it talk about? It talks about the ethnic groups. What is a major ethnic group in Sri Lanka? Tamilians, obviously. Buddhists are there, but the major ethnic group, it is Tamilians. You all must be knowing LTTE, the militant organization, LTTE, Tamil Liberation Tigers, led by Prabhakaran. You are not aware of that particular organization. That is rather strange. The reason could be you belong to a different generation. But 80s, 90s and early 80s and 90s, I would say, Prabhakaran was an international figure. He was quite notorious in the international scenario or arena, but quite popular among Tamilians in Sri Lanka. He led a war against the Sri Lankan government. It was an ethnic war. They wanted, the Tamilians in Sri Lanka, they wanted a separate state in Sri Lanka. They wanted a separate country rather for Tamilians. For that they fought for almost 3 decades. That's the past. The editorial talks about that. Finally he was assassinated or he was killed by the soldiers of Sri Lankan government. His son was also a pretty young boy. He was also killed in that, what do you call, the civil war. And after that, this happened in 2009. Then the peace started setting in the country. And for almost 10 years, it was rather no untoward incident, no terrorist act, no civil war, no ethnic clashes. But last month, I think, am I right? Or this month? When did it happen? Last month. So, series of bomb blasts. Please excuse me. It seems about 60 students haven't got the handout. You know the handout, 60 students haven't got. So what I'm going to do, he has requested me to do it rather slowly, so I will do it slowly so that they can write. But after the session, I feel, I don't know whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. I will talk to the person who takes the photocopies or the printouts. You could collect from that person, third floor. But I don't think it's a very good idea. What I suggest, those who haven't got today, please collect tomorrow. That is better. Otherwise, it will be a problem in the third floor. I don't want that to happen. For today, you manage, but the same handout, those who haven't got those 60 students, please collect tomorrow here, not in the third floor. Is it clear? So we'll continue. So it talks about what? Peace. And there are three words in this sentence. What is the first word? Brutal. Write the meaning of the word brutal. Brutal means what? You have got this word many a time. Savage, barbaric. Please write brutal means savage, barbaric, cruel. A better word, ruthless. Ruthless. See, when I bring words, I know what sort of words I have been giving you people. I know for sure, already I have given the word savage, I have given the word barbaric. I also know that I have not given the word ruthless. So what you have to do, these words are familiar. How many of these words are familiar? Three of them, cruel, savage and barbaric. You have to put a star mark and focus on the new word. That is a better way to look at and enrich your word power. So please underline the word ruthless. And generally the word ruthless goes with brackets, you write dictators. Dictators and autocracy. Also write the word autocracy. Ruthless. Also write the word regime. What is the meaning of the word regime? R-E-G-I-M-E. A particular government. Usually it has a negative connotation. Now write the meaning of the word decisive. Decisive means what? Deciding, conclusive or resolute. Decisive you have got many a time, and these are rather easy words, deciding and conclusive. But this is a new word, a different meaning. And write one or two combinations. Decisive war. Please write decisive war. Deciding war or conclusive war. Also write decisive meeting. Decisive meeting. Resolute. Resolute means what? Firm. Please write the word firm. This goes with, this meaning goes with individuals. She is or he is. Resolute means what? Very firm. So these are different meaning altogether. Now what is the third word in the sentence? Tangible. Tangible you got many a time. One of the meanings of tangible, what does it mean? You could come to the front, those girls, please come over here. Tangible, first you write the meaning, perceptible by touch. Perceptible by touch. Tangible progress. But does it mean that here? Can you touch progress? This is a literal meaning. Write another meaning. Something that can be seen or touched. Please write the meaning. Something that can be seen or touched. You can see progress, obviously. You can see growth. You can see development. So this meaning goes with this context. What is the opposite of tangible? Intangible. Concrete, or what is opposite? Abstract. Please write two words, concrete, abstract. Then you write tangible, intangible. So he says it must be acknowledged what? That the country has not achieved much tangible progress towards ethnic reconciliation. So still the problems are there. What does the sentence talk about? What does it talk about? Still the problems are there when it comes to reconciliation of the ethnic groups. What is the meaning of the word ethnic? Please write ethnic means traditional. Traditional. Now write one combination, ethnic dress. Ethnic dress. Also write one more combination, ethnic fashion. Ethnic fashion, what is opposite? Western fashion. Ethnic means traditional. So it talks about the negative aspect of how they have handled. Shall I continue? Now we look at the editorial. The fruits of peace are limited to the revival of economic activity. Though some progress has been there, it is restricted to what? Economic activity. The fruits of peace are limited to the revival of economic activity, but the pervasive, you have got this word already, pervasive means what? Widespread. Pervasive grievances, you got this word also, of the Tamil minority remain. Though economic front some progress has been made, ethnic groups they are not happy. Which ethnic group especially? Tamil minority. That's what it talks about. But write the meaning of the word revival. Revival means what? Improvement, betterment, comeback, restoration. You could write all these words. Improvement, betterment, comeback, restoration. I have not brought the meaning of the word pervasive. You have got recently. Means what? Widespread. Exactly. Please write widespread. And write the meaning of the word grievances. Singular grievance. What is the meaning of that? Complaint or problem. Grievances, plural form. Complaints or problems. So the Tamil minority, their grievances still are there, they remain. Some progress has been made. Please underline the expression has been made. Which tense is that? Immediate answer I want. Present perfect active voice or passive voice? Passive voice. Just make a note. We'll focus on grammar part also. Some progress has been made in resettlement and rehabilitation. Write the meaning of the word rehabilitation. The act of restoring something to its original state. Rehabilitation, the act of restoring something to its original state. Generally, a good condition. Positive. Please write positive. And have you written the meaning of the word rehabilitation? What is the meaning? The act of restoring something to its original state. But this word generally it goes with, please write the combinations. It goes with disasters, one thing. Whenever there is a disaster, a natural disaster like cyclone, storm, or earthquake, or floods, deluge, any of these, what does the government do? People of that particular area, they are evacuated. Write the word evacuated. Evacuate means what? To shift people from a particular place, disturbed place. Evacuate. And they are taken to rehabilitation camps. Rehabilitation camps. This is one combination. What is the other and typical combination? If you take drug addicts, there are two ways of dealing with drug addicts. In some places, the drug addicts, they behave in an abnormal way, usually. They talk a lot and they become very aggressive and the behavior is unpredictable. Because of that, they look to some extent eccentric or insane. What is the meaning of the word insane? Mad. A little insane. So some doctors, what they do, those who deal with drug addicts, they shift these drug addicts to mental hospitals or asylums. Then what happens, there is a stigma attached to that. Imagine a person, he was a drug addict, he has been taken to a particular asylum or mental hospital, and he has been treated for this drug addiction, bad habit. When he comes out, what does the society say? Do they talk about de-addiction or do they talk about mental hospital more? So they put a stamp on the person. What is a stamp? He was in the mental hospital and he became a little mad. So for that we use the word, you got this word sometime back. What is the word? A stigma. A stigma is attached when someone goes to the mental hospital or asylum. And some doctors, keeping that in mind, what they do, they take the drug addicts to rehabilitation centers. When the drug addict goes to a rehabilitation center, he comes out of that, there's no stigma attached to that person. People say he was at the rehabilitation center. So modern days, in the past they would take these drug addicts to asylums or mental hospitals, but modern days they are using rehabilitation centers. Clear? Write one more expression, de-addiction center. De-addiction center. Rehabilitation center, we also use the expression de-addiction. Addict, what is opposite? De-addict. So the sentence talks about what? Beyond this I cannot expand those back rows, please. Meanings I can expand, but this text I cannot. Some progress has been made in resettlement and rehabilitation, but complaints abound. That's a very good word. Write the meaning of the word abound. Abound means what? This I can expand. Exist in large numbers or amounts. But what I suggest, those who haven't got the handouts, listen and write. That is a better thing. And that way what happens, you improve your standards. You get used to running notes. That is always better. This is what I've been insisting on. What is it? Listen and write. Then you go to the next level. So what is the meaning of the word abound? Exist in large numbers or amounts. Have you written the meaning? Now we'll see. Many say the land continues to be held by the military. Many say what? Their land continues to be held by the military, which also controls huge swathes of state-owned land. That's not a regular word, and it goes more with geography rather. Write the meaning of the word swathe. Swathe singular, and write the meaning. A broad strip or area of something, usually land. A broad strip or area of something, usually what? Land. And if you take land not in the heart of the city, outside, what is the word for that? First you write the word outskirts. And rural area, when you go to the villages, what do you call that? Please write the expression countryside. What is it? Countryside. Means rural area. This looks a little clumsy, that's why I had to bring different sizes, and it doesn't look aesthetically appealing. Have you written the meaning? What is the meaning of the word country? Don't think it's a silly question. There's a reason to ask that question. So one meaning is what? A nation state, a sovereign country, a political independent country. What is the other meaning of the word country? Country means village side. Please write the second meaning. Country means what? Village side or rural area. So the military has a control. The sentence talks about what? The might of the military. Preliminary steps were taken towards forging. Underline the word forging. Forge has got many meanings. Positive meaning as well as negative meaning. Here it is a positive meaning or a negative meaning? Positive. What is a... Please write the meaning. Forge means to result in. To result in one meaning. Also write. To establish. To establish a positive development. Forge something positive. Result in positive development. So forging a new constitution, but the process seems to be at a standstill. Please underline the phrase, at a standstill. You have been preparing for so many months or years, imagine, and you don't make any progress, then what do you say? It doesn't happen, you all make progress. As an example I'm telling. And then what do you say? Someone doesn't make any progress, then what do you say? He has been preparing for so long, but the progress has been at a standstill. Means what? Write the meaning, static. S-T-A-T-I-C, static. Stand still means no movement at all. Underline the word still. Still you all know. Still means what? Movement or no movement? So, there is one expression, please write still waters. Write the expression still waters. And write one proverb, please write based on this expression, still waters run deep. Still waters run deep. What do you understand from this expression? Still waters run deep means what? When the water doesn't move, still water runs deep means the depth is more when you come across still waters. Another way, if you relate that to people, opposite, what do we say? Empty vessels make more noise. And empty vessels make more noise. What is opposite? Still waters run deep. Those with a lot of knowledge, they're very quiet. They don't try to show off. They don't try to exhibit. They don't try to be flamboyant. But those with a little knowledge, they always try to show off a lot. You got the difference between these two. Fine. So what is the next sentence? But remember the phrase, at a standstill. There is no sense of closure for families affected. Underline the word affected. Which part of speech is it? AFF, that is a verb. EFF, it's a verb as well as a noun, but generally it is used as what? A noun. Affected by the disappearance of thousands over the years. Also underline the phrase over the years, for many years. The creation of an office on missing persons has not inspired enough confidence. Has not inspired. See, so many sentences in present perfect tense. Underline the word enough. Tell me which part of speech is it in this context? Confidence, which part of speech? What is the opposite of confidence? Immediate answer I want. Please write the word diffidence. Confidence, opposite, diffidence. Diffidence. And this is a noun. What is the word enough in this context? Adjective. But exam point of view, we can use the same word as an adverb. That is more important. Please write one sentence. She is not or he is not. That is your choice, because every time I say she, you may think I have gender bias. So he or she, your choice. So please write, he is or she is intelligent enough. Intelligent enough. In this sentence, what is enough? Which part of speech is it? Please write adverb. Intelligent enough. In this sentence, it is an adverb, not adjective. Enough intelligence, adjective. Intelligent enough, adverb. Please make a note. There is no mechanism to secure justice for those massacred. You have got this word many a time. Massacre means what? Brutal killing of thousands of people or many people. Write the meaning of that word. An indiscriminate and brutal slaughter of many people. Slaughter means what? Killing. Indiscriminate, without thinking. Without thinking. Indiscriminate and brutal. Already I've got the word brutal. And write one combination, underline the word slaughter, but generally it doesn't go with persons or human beings. It goes with animals. Write the expression slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse. The place where animals are killed. Slaughterhouse. There is no mechanism to secure justice for those massacred in the closing stages of the war. What continues is the fractious. Please underline the word fractious and write the meaning. Uncontrollable or unmanageable. Fractious means uncontrollable, unmanageable, unruly. And right in this context, they have used the combination fractious politics. Means what? Uncontrollable, unmanageable politics. But generally it goes with, please write fractious crowd. Crowds or mobs. Means what? Uncontrollable mobs or crowds. So fractious politics of leaders of the national parties. Jockeying. Jockey means what? As a noun. A person who rides a horse, jockey, when you take horse races. But in this context, what is a part of speech? Is it a verb or a noun? It's a verb. Write the meaning of that. It's a very good word. It means compete, contend, or vie. V-I-E. Compete, contend, or vie. Another meaning it has got, this is a second meaning of that. Handle in a skillful manner. You handle someone or something in a skillful manner. It doesn't go beyond that. And this is an important word, maneuver. How do you pronounce it? Maneuver. Maneuver also means handle in a skillful manner. And it goes with cars or vehicles or persons, things or products, gadgets. Have you written the meaning? Fine. So what is the sentence here? Jockeying for power, competing for power has overshadowed. Again you underline, has overshadowed. This writer has used quite often, many a time, which tense? Present perfect. The promise of good governance, economic growth, and a push towards a constitutional settlement. Now we'll see the second paragraph. Half the period since the end of the war was marked by, please underline, was marked by. Again, is it active voice or passive voice? Triumphalism. This has been taken from the word triumph. Triumph means what? Victory, to win, victory or success. And also warding off. That is an important expression. Write the meaning of ward off. Ward off means to prevent someone or something unpleasant harming you. To prevent someone or something unpleasant harming you. You stop them so that you are safe. To prevent someone or something unpleasant harming you. Have you written? Fine. So half the period since the end of the war was marked by triumphalism and also warding off international pressure for an inquiry into possible war crimes. So generally what happens, civil war or regular war, you come across war crimes committed by who? The soldiers, the army, generally speaking. The year 2015 brought to power a new regime. Underline the word regime. Already you have got this word many a time. Regime means what? A particular government or a state of rule. And usually it has a negative connotation. A new regime, a fresh promise of democratic governance, and the infusion. Underline the word infusion. Infusion has got many meanings. Generally it goes with, it's a medical term. But in this context, write the meaning. The act of adding one thing to another to make it stronger or better. Also write the expression to pump in. To pump in. To add. Adding one thing to another to make it stronger or better. Have you written? Right. Infusion of what? That means pumping in or adding of a spirit of political and constitutional reform. Any reckoning, you've got this word many a time. Reckon means what? Think. Please write the word reckon. Think. Consider. Think or consider. Any reckoning at the end of 10 years would possibly have been marked by a tabulation of peacetime gains and failures. However, a month ago, everything changed. So people thought everything was under control. But all of a sudden, something negative happened. However, please underline the word however. What does it express? A contrast. A month ago, everything changed. The Easter Sunday bombings have taken, again you underline, have taken, the country back to the time when terrorism was a dominant theme. Terrorism is what? The dominant theme. Is that the last sentence? Or we have some more? Oh. This time there is no real underlying cause to address, no group or organization to talk to, and no tangible political grievances to redress. Underline the word redress and write the meaning of that. A remedy or rectify. Redress means what? A remedy or rectify. Rectify the grievances or think of a solution. Also write the word solution. So, earlier when there was civil war, then there was a group, Tamilians, LTT. But this time, no group, no organization, no individual. So, there is no one to talk to. The sentence talks about that. The serial blast executed by fanatical elements. This is also an important word. Please write the meaning of fanatical. Generally, we use a word. Please write, first you write the expression fanatic. F-A-N-A-T-I-C. He is a fanatic. Also write the combination a religious fanatic. Religious fanatic. What is the meaning? Filled with excessive and single-minded zeal. Zeal means enthusiasm or passion. Single-minded. Excessive and single-minded zeal. They are ready to do anything for religion and they don't care. Innocent people get killed, they don't consider. Then we use, this has a negative connotation. When we say we came across many religious fanatics, positive or negative? Negative. So it goes with, nowadays you come across terrorism and a lot of bomb blasts. Generally, they are done by religious fanatics. So it has a negative connotation. So the serial blast executed by fanatical elements apparently inspired by the Islamic State may be a flashpoint. Underline the expression flashpoint and write the meaning of that. Flashpoint means an event or time at which violence or hostility flares, comes out. Flares means what? Comes out. So flashpoint is something like boiling point. At one stage, you can't hold your emotions, you burst out. Then we say that was a flashpoint. An event or time at which violence or hostility flares up or flares. In an argument, initially you're not aggressive, you try to argue and after some time you reach a flashpoint. Then what happens? You burst out, you take out your anger. Then we say flashpoint. Also write the expression boiling point. What is the other expression for that? Boiling point. So flashpoint for a fresh round of inter-ethnic and inter-religious tension. Already there was some indication last week when Sinhala mobs attacked predominantly Muslim. Underline the word predominantly. Predominant means what? Major. Please write major or most important. Generally major, predominant. Dominating. It comes from the word dominating. Dominating means a major thing. Predominantly Muslim villages in waves, destroying property and threatening the people. Anti-terrorism laws and emergency regulations are back in full measure. Because of that incident, again, emergency and anti-terrorism laws they've come into existence. The biggest adverse fallout. Underline the word adverse. Adverse means what? You have got many a time. Negative. Negative. Fallout, that's a very good word. Write the meaning of the word fallout. Adverse or negative results of a situation or action or of an event. Please write event. The adverse results of a situation or action or an event. Fallout. Usually we use it after a terrorist act, after a fight, after clashes. We say there was a fallout or there is a fallout. In newspaper English, quite often you come across this expression, fallout. Fallout is that a new dimension has been given to inter-ethnic suspicions that may deepen distrust among communities. Again, people started suspecting each other or one another as prospects of accountability for past crimes and constitutional reform recede. Write the meaning of the word recede. Usually it goes with waves, tides. But what is the meaning? Go or move back from a previous position. Go or move back from a previous position. And write the combinations. Recede, brackets, write wave or tide. Receding tide, receding wave. Some sections including the incumbent. You got this word many a time. Incumbent means what? Holding power. Someone who is holding power. Either an individual or a government in power. Incumbent regime, government, may believe economic development may be enough to propel. Propel means what? Push forward the country forward. But when tensions persist, persist means what? Exist. Among communities, nothing can make up for the absence of reconciliation and trust among all sections. So it doesn't serve the purpose. Never has Sri Lanka needed a shared sense of nationhood among all its people more than it does now. So what does it talk about? How does it conclude? Now it is, if there is distrust or suspicion, it is not a good thing for the country, and they have to stand, they have to believe in one country and the nationhood, one community. Then it is good for the country. It has taken a lot of time. Yesterday it took only 30 minutes. Today it has taken 40 minutes. What could be the reason? More words, and we have touched the grammar dimension. Now I will give you 10 minutes, exactly 10 minutes. Go through all the exercises. After 10 minutes, we will see the answers. See the answers. So if the student were forced to make a choice, please underline were. I am trying to include grammar also in the examples. If the student were forced to make a choice, it would be devastating for him. So what is the meaning of the word devastating? Which option is that? Highly destructive or damaging. You please write the option. Every time I can't change. Devastating means what? Highly destructive or damaging. The incident forged a close bond between the two unions. But here you see a new different wording. Create a relationship on new conditions. E is the answer. Forge. Create new relationship or condition. Many employees reckon all the managers are dictatorial. No one likes the manager, that is a problem. So reckon means what? Think or consider. The terrorists massacred 2,000 women and children. Massacre means brutal killing, killing brutally in a savage or barbaric manner. Indiscriminate killing. Those who have been evacuated expect, underline the word evacuated, expect to go home again when the flood waters recede. So what is the combination here? Flood waters recede. Recede means what? Go back or move back. The close test. The fruits of peace are limited to the, what is the answer? Revival of economic activity, but the pervasive, where is it? Pervasive grievances means widespread grievances of the Tamil minority remain. Some progress has been made in resettlement and rehabilitation, but complaints abound. Many say the land continues to be held by the military, which also controls huge swathes of state-owned land. Now, multiple errors. The fruits of peace is limited. Underline the subject. The fruits of peace are limited to the revival of economic activity, but the pervasive grievances or pervasively grievances. So what is wrong with this? Please make a note, word form. Please write word form. Pervasive grievances. Pervasive, which part of speech is it? Adjective. But wrong form, adverb form has been used. Pervasive grievances of the Tamil minority. Underline the word grievances, singular or plural. Then we will say remains or remain. Strike off the letter S. Jockeying for power. What is the subject here? Jockeying. Have or has. Has overshadowed the promise to good governance. Promise to or of. So change the preposition. Promise of good governance, economic growth, and a pushing or a push towards. What is the reason? Please underline economic growth, good governance, and push. All are what? Nouns. And this goes with parallel expression. Please write parallel expression. push. You cannot use a different form. Already there is some indication last week. Now underline last week. Is it present or past? Then when you say is or was, already there was some indication last week when Sinhala mobs attacked predominant or predominantly Muslim villages. So please again make a note, a word form. Predominant is adjective, predominantly adverb. Predominantly Muslim villages in waves destroying property. Underline the word destroying. Destroying, which form is it? ing form or present participle. Can you say threatened or threatening? So please correct it. Destroying and threatening. Which aspect of English grammar is that? Multiple or parallel expression. Please write parallel expression. It is tough to re-establish one's credit after a financial such as bankruptcy. So what is the answer? Fallout. Please write financial fallout. The engineer with his office work when he had the flu. Fall behind. Fall behind. Fall behind means what? Lag behind. You go back in the race. She had to on her savings when she was unemployed. Fall back on or upon. Both could be used. Please write two forms. Fall back on or fall back upon. She had to fall back on. Here I have used the preposition on, but you could also use upon. The soldier, after years as a prisoner of war, fall apart. It has got two different meanings. One meaning it goes with vehicles or products. Slowly after using for a long time, the parts come off. Then we use the expression fall apart. And here it means what? To get disturbed or affected. Please write fall apart means to deteriorate, to get affected. The soldier fell apart after years as a prisoner of war. And what is the last one you're left with? He fell for. Fall for means to get attracted, wanting, and to get cheated. It has got a negative connotation. To get cheated. In this context, is it positive or negative? One is fall for someone, that is positive. She fell for him, it is positive, or he fell for her, positive. But here underline the word con. What is the meaning of the word con? Cheat. Please write the meaning. Con artist means a cheat. Generally I say many God men are con men. You know the word God man. God man, a religious guru. Many God men are con men. They always try to cheat. Exceptions are there, that's a different thing. So con artist fell for the con artist scheme. So it has a negative connotation. He was cheated. Now try to guess the meaning. He knows that he was a holy terror when he was young. Holy terror means a troublesome person. Please write. Troublesome person. Problematic person. Also write problematic person. We'll do it a little fast. The people could not tolerate the dictator's reign of terror. Reign means duration. Duration of terror. A rule of terror. Also write rule of terror. She was scared when the doctor said it could be that king of terrors. What is that king of terrors? Cancer. Means what? Most dreaded. Please write. Most dreaded. Dreaded means what? Most feared. Most dangerous. D-R-E-A-D-E-D. Most dreaded. King of terrors. Cancer is a king of terrors. The recent epidemic has struck terror into countries around the world. Strike terror into means cause fear. Please write cause fear. Cause what? Fear. Strike terror into. Or instill fear. Also write the word instill. Instill fear. My friend ran into the haunted house. What is the meaning of the word haunted? If there is an old building and people believe a lot of ghosts visit regularly, then we use the expression haunted house. And sometimes what happens, you come across a very tough paper, the same questions, the same passage keeps coming. Then what do you say? The paper haunts me. Don't say English haunts me. That's not a good thing. Now what is this? What is the sentence over here? My friend ran into the haunted house, but I blanched with. So write the meaning. Turn pale. Blanch with means turn pale. With some emotion. What is the emotion here? Fear. Blanched with fear means turn pale. Now word map. What are the words related to peace? Tranquility. Peace. Quiet. That is one word. But what is the word here? Quietude. Quietude also means tranquility. Same meaning. And hush. Hush, generally we say silence. Write the word silence. And write one expression. Hushed up the case. Hushed up the case. Some case, controversial case. Hush up means what? Silence the case. And solitude means what? Getting separated, getting isolated. It comes from seclusion. Also write the word seclusion. When you are isolated, you have peace. You are not disturbed. And truce, write the meaning. Truce means peace. Truce means what? Peace. Pacify, you have got the word pacify. Pacify means what? To make someone less angry or to calm someone. Pacifism means against war. Please write the meaning. Pacifism means against war. Some people don't like war. Then we call that person, a person doesn't like war, we call that person pacifist. He is a pacifist. Pacifist, a person who doesn't like war. Olive branch, you offer an olive branch, means you want peace. So olive branch means, please write, peace. Conquered. Conquered already have got the word, means what? In grammar, harmonious relationship of different grammatical units. In this context, conquered means harmonious relationship between countries or people of different countries. Please write. Between countries, there is a harmonious relationship. Then we use the word. What is the word? Conquered. That's it for today. And please